There are two very fundamental reasons that we make the choices that we do in life. Either because we fear something so deeply that we choose to run from it, or we decide to confront those ugly monsters that live in the darkness and choose to run towards it. Goes against our instinct, right? Doesn't make any sense. If you were in your right mind, why would you, or anyone for that matter, choose to run willingly into the dark? Perhaps to find answers to the very things that make you fearful, make you scared of moving forward into that bright light that we're all reaching for. Or maybe because you have found a solution to the problems that exist in darkness. I think that's why I decided to become an activist. At an early age, I realized that I had a very uncommon penchant for all things dark, sad, and generally depressing to most earthlings. Yeah. I was a weird kid. I was that kid. Give it up for all the weird kids in the world, yeah? Yeah. For all of my young people here who are told on the playground and in school that you're weird, say, thank you. Those are the people who are really running the world and making change. And I know it scared my mom a whole lot, Mommy. I'm sorry. I know it scared you. But it wasn't the dark that I was drawn to as much as I was really fascinated by the things that existed in the darkness. Yeah? It's a powerful space, a space in which we either choose to see an ending, death, or one filled with infinite new beginnings. So as a child, I sat a lot in the darkness of my closet by myself, in the dark. But it was this mysterious, magical world where I wrote songs and poems and devoured the stories of great pioneers like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. Harriet Tubman was a rock star to me. She not only masterminded her own escape from slavery, but had the audacity to free thousands of others. Harriet taught me that the most effective time to free slaves was in the dark. Those stories taught me that even just a little glimmer of light in seemingly perpetual darkness was just enough to give you hope for something better. But I've come to understand that not everybody is comfortable with the dark. Perhaps that's why society is so apathetic to human suffering. Take the image that you're going to see next, for instance. That image right there. I noticed a very disturbing trend on my Facebook in 2013. Those images of me in perfect professional makeup and perfectly coiffed hair would get thousands of likes, while pretty much any post that I featured about human condition of any kind would go mysteriously ignored. It's hard to look at the things in the dark, isn't it? Well, this image right here has now gotten over 30,000 likes in comparison to my social justice posts, which have gotten maybe 1,000 likes, 50 shares. Now, I know those are not Kim Kardashian numbers, y'all. That's not the point, because I'm not even trying to go there right now. The point is, why is it that society is so comfortable celebrating what's beautiful, instead of looking at the ugly societal ills that need healing? Well, 300 years after the transatlantic slave trade, our world is fighting a new form of slavery, human trafficking. That is the business of selling people in exchange for money. Sadly, human trafficking hasn't changed all that much since the 1800s. Did you know that human trafficking generates more than $30 billion a year? By 2012, human trafficking generated more revenue than that of Google and Starbucks combined. Today, human trafficking has destroyed the lives of over 60 million men, women, and children with no other place to go. I myself didn't realize how pervasive human trafficking was until 2 Atlanta reporters asked me to join them in launching an awareness campaign. That campaign was called Facing Sex Trafficking, Atlanta's Dirty Little Secret. Because you see, this isn't just a third world problem. In the developing world, families may sell their children as young as 3 years old in exchange for dowries. But in America, no child is exempt. White, Black, Asian, Latino, children that are raised in loving 2-parent homes are as equally at risk of falling prey to trafficking as those that are raised in broken urban homes. And the pimps, they don't wear capes anymore, y'all, like in the movies. They're your teachers, your preachers, crossing guards, political officials, policemen that are here to serve and protect us. Those tutors that you may hire. How about some of your friends on Facebook? Watch what your children are doing, because someone may have taken advantage of their immaturity and vulnerability and maybe making them do those things that exist in the dark. What's worse, the parents and siblings of some of these very victims will happily sell their child in the street in exchange for that next high. Trafficking is a pervasive illness that exists in our very own backyards. Not until I was involved with the Facing Sex Trafficking project did I myself understand just how devastating and destructive this industry was. Children as young as 11 and 14 years old, because of their immaturity and that vulnerability, that wanting to belong, to feel valued, were easy prey for the traffickers. But that's not it. It's also because they were in high demand by Johns, who said the younger they are, the more I'm willing to pay. So I wanted to share a story with you, one that came out of the project that I helped to work with 2 amazing women right in Atlanta. This project was designed to pair artists with sex trafficking survivors and advocates to create awareness in a very creative way to lessen the sting, if you will, of this pervasive and sickening illness. Well, using music and the arts as tools to empower vulnerable communities and children was nothing new to me. I've done it in over 10 countries around the world, where we use music and the arts as tools to teach those critical life skills to break that cycle of poverty. I myself picked a collection of stories written by a survivor and advocate of Forced Sarah, Casey McClure. You see, what I also learned through this work is that over 60% of all sex trafficking victims have also been sexually abused. Numb to the act of sex, in search of love, belonging, answers, and protection, they run away from home, unknowingly right into the arms of danger. That's the 50% of the victims of sex trafficking. 50%. Think about what that number embodies. The children who have been meant to feel weird and not belonged, loved, not valued. Our community of children that just because of their gender or sexual identity feel like they don't have a home and they'd rather be on the streets. Well, there's someone that's waiting for them, and it's called trafficking. Well, Casey's story is not very unique when it comes to trafficking. You see, without a high school degree, without money to survive, she was lured into another aspect of sex trafficking that's very rarely talked about. That's the adult sex entertainment industry. Yes, in the backs of strip clubs, there are literally children that are caged, boys and girls, only allowed to come out and dance when the music turns up and the lights come down just low enough so you don't see their tears. This is my creative interpretation of the story of boys and girls who've been silenced in the darkness by this horrific human violation. I give you Daddy's little girl. Pretty girl is what they call me. A badge of honor for most girls on the covers of magazines, but for me, it stings. Because what they don't know, can't know, don't want to know is that's what he used to call me when he'd sneak into my room at night. Shh, Daddy's here, pretty girl. I'd quiver spontaneously in pain and delight. He won't play that game with me, touching muffled tears and secrecy. But he said he loved me. Even when it hurt, Daddy said he loved me. Mama used to say I was Daddy's little girl, but I was his woman too. Well, she didn't love him anymore, so what was I supposed to do? He said he loved me. So what was I supposed to do? I love you. I heard those words so many times in the boys' bathroom, in the backs of cars, in the basement as they pulled a chain, and Stevie Wonder sang, overjoyed, I am building a castle of love. Love. It didn't matter how many times they did the things they did to me. As long as I heard those three words, I longed to hear, I love you, girl. Until 6 STDs, 4 abortions, and those 3 words made it painfully clear. Love was not to be cherished, but feared. Hate, shame, they were weapons of mass destruction, and now I had my own, but you never saw me coming because now this pretty little girl is all grown. On the stage is where I found my prey, and they'd line up day after day. Married, corporate, Mercedes-Benz Class C. Oh, you can come inside my playhouse, but this milk ain't for free. Soaring, spinning high so recklessly. But they don't want to know me, wife Mia, hear my dream show. I just be what they want me to be. But in VIP, you gotta pay me, because the touching is no longer free. A 20 for the pain when you made me bleed. A 50 for the shame of the reflection I see. 100 for the games we played at night in secrecy. But this time, you've taken the very last piece of me. Fear had me in chains, but I still know my name. And ever since the day I let him back into my life, the game is now changed. 365 days ago, I had to bury that pain. 6 feet under in a grave full of shame. Now I live free of those burdens and fears, so that others may live without the 1,655,029 tears that I once shed. Because now that pretty little girl is dead. Today, a woman stands in her place to tell every sweet, single, innocent little face that never heard those 3 words that I long to hear from someone who cared without imposing fear. I love you. Well, many people ask me why I have the connection to Casey's story that I do. The reality is that I could have been just like Casey, and so could you, or you, or you. Had it not been for having a mother in my life that didn't allow me to see myself as a victim, family around me to make sure that I knew I was valued, loved, and protected, I too could have ended up on the backs of a milk carton, sold underground to the highest bidder, had I not decided to step into the darkness and take a chance on saving a life. So the next time you come across an issue that just makes you angry, I beg you not to turn away from that issue, but to choose boldly to run into the darkness. There just may be a hand reaching out, hoping that you'll pull them into the light. Thank you.